I had the worst sleep problems right from when I was a little child up through my mid 30s. When I was a little kid, I would just lie in bed and wish and pray that I could go to sleep, and I just had so much trouble. And then in my young adult life and all that, I had babies, and they were up, and then it turned out that we had two autistic children, and they had sleep disorders, and so then my sleep problems just got worse and worse. There were times when I was just so stressed out about getting woken up from sleep. I wouldn't even go to sleep anymore. So I have learned some tips and tricks, and I wanted to share them with you because I'm hoping that it might help someone. The first thing you need to do is to make sure that you've got good sleep habits. And so there's some basics. You need a quiet, dark room. So a really important thing is to not have a TV in your room. So TVs are very stimulating and all that. You need to not have your work desk in there. Your room should just be for sleep. And so then you don't have that association of other things with your room. If you go to your room, your body knows it's time to sleep. So those are some really great sleep habits. So the next thing is to avoid stimulation. So a big thing is caffeine, and you should stop caffeine probably at least 6 hours before you're going to go to sleep. And if you're having a lot of problems, then maybe even 12. So really work on the stimulation. Like I said, don't have a TV in your room. Don't watch screens. Don't scroll and all that. At least 30 minutes to an hour before you go to sleep, because that's just going to wire you and it's going to make you have a hard time going to sleep. Although exercise during the day is really good for sleep, avoid strenuous exercise 4 hours before going to sleep, because that produces a lot of stress hormones that can affect your sleep. Okay, so now comes the mind-body part. So you need to have a calm and relaxed mind and body in order to go to sleep. And a lot of people have different deep breathing techniques, or maybe do some gentle yoga or some stretching before going to sleep. And that is very helpful. But the thing that's really helped me is what to do with my mind. And so then a big killer of sleep is to be worried about stuff, to have your mind racing as you're thinking about stuff, and even to be thinking about sleep. So to be worrying that you're not going to get enough sleep, that you're going to not be rested the next day, that, to be counting the hours and all that. And so I've found that the best way to deal with that is distraction. And so the worst thing to do is to think about sleep, but I found that if I can distract myself, then I will just all of a sudden fall asleep. So some of the methods that I use are that I imagine that I'm a character in a story or a movie, and maybe I'm taking it a different way. The story's moving a different way, and I'm solving a problem a different way. Some people get benefits from imagining something like a waterfall or a beach, and then really thinking about what they're feeling and what their sensations are and all that. So just find something that can distract you, and that has helped me a lot. And the last tip that I have is going to sound very weird, but if I haven't fallen asleep within 15 minutes, I get out of bed. And so that really helps to just get out of bed and sit quietly somewhere in the dark, because then I'm not associating all these stressful feelings with being in bed. And I find that if I just sit there, or maybe I do a few stretches or whatever, then I will start to yawn, and I'll start to yawn, and I'll start to yawn. And when I've yawned a lot, then I will go and try to go back to sleep again, of course, using the same distraction patterns. But yeah, just lying in bed for hours and hours, just worrying about it is not helpful. And so getting myself out of bed and sitting there helps a lot. One thing that was really important in helping me calm my mind and be able to sleep was to pray. When I intentionally cleared my mind of all of the chaos and fear and crazy that was going on, and then prayed to be filled with God's Spirit, I was filled with a peace and a calm that helped me with doing the rest of the steps that I've outlined. So just remember in Matthew 19:26, with God, all things are possible. So, yes, even you can overcome your sleep problems and enjoy a much better sleep, just like I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.